Take a look at these tracks. Someone walked through here last night or early this morning. But who? Tracks like these can show up in snow, mud, or even sand. And tracks reveal little clues. Clues about the animals that passed through. So let's slow down and take a closer look together. Join me on this wonder walk. When scientists study tracks, the first thing they do is observe. So let's start by noticing a few things. Look at the shape. Do you see any toes? Are the tracks big or small? Are they deep in the snow or lightly pressed into the ground? Each of these details can give us clues. Another thing scientists often do is measure tracks. You can use a ruler or even your hand for comparison. Measuring helps us figure out how big the animal might have been. A large track might belong to a bigger animal like a bear, while smaller tracks could come from something much smaller like a squirrel. Another important clue is the pattern of the tracks. Do they move in a straight line? Do they appear in pairs? These patterns can tell us a lot. They might show us if the animal was walking, hopping, or running. And sometimes, tracks can tell a story. If the tracks suddenly change direction, maybe the animal heard a sound and turned to investigate. Sometimes, you might see many tracks together, which could mean several animals passed through the same area. Or you might notice one set of tracks following another. That might make you wonder, was one animal chasing another? Or was it simply following a trail through the woods, passing through at different times? When we slow down and look carefully, tracks can help us imagine what happened there before we arrived. Let's take a look at these tracks now. They're long and narrow, almost like two pointed oval shapes pressed into the snow. That shape is a big clue. Animals with hooves often leave tracks like this. And in forests like these, those hooves most often belong to deer. And notice how the tracks appear in a line, almost like the deer was carefully walking through the woods. Now let's look at another set of tracks. These look very different. Instead of two pointed shapes, we see a round pad with 4 toe marks around the front. That's another big clue. Animals with paws leave tracks like this. And in this area, tracks like these could belong to animals in the dog family, like a fox or coyote, or animals in the cat family, like a bobcat. Also, this was the only footprint we found, which makes things a little tricky, because sometimes we don't get the whole story from just one track or print. Wind, snow, or melting can cover up parts of tracks. So this is one of those times where we can say, it's a pawed animal, but we're not exactly sure which one or what it was doing. And that's okay. Sometimes in nature, we only get part of the story. But what about the tracks we saw at the beginning? Let's take another look. Do you notice how these tracks look a little different from the others? Instead of paws or hooves, there are 3 long toes spreading out. I'm wondering what kind of animal could have made tracks like these? Where was it going? And what was it doing? Sometimes, when scientists aren't sure about a track, they use a track or field guide like this to compare what they're seeing. So let's see if we can find something that looks similar to what we saw outdoors. Ooh, look at these. These tracks have 3 long toes, similar to the ones that we found. So now we know that these tracks were made by a bird, but how do we figure out which bird? Well, to narrow it down, we can look at a few clues. First, the shape and position of the toes. Some are closer together, some are wider apart, some are webbed. And another helpful clue is the size of the track. There are tiny tracks, about 1.5 inches, and there are much larger tracks, about 6.5 inches. So I measured our track, and it was just under 4 inches long. So now we can compare that information with our track guide. And according to this guide, the tracks that look like this and measure around 4 inches most likely belong to a wild turkey. To be sure, I actually set up a camera nearby, and look what it captured. There they are, a group of wild turkeys walking through the same spot, searching for food. And when we take a closer look at the tracks they left behind and compare them to the ones we saw earlier, they match. So it looks like our mystery tracks really did belong to wild turkeys. So the next time you're outside, look closely at the ground. You might notice tracks in the snow, mud, or even soft dirt. If you find some tracks, try measuring them. Look for patterns and see if you can guess which animal made them. What stories will you uncover? Remember, the more you notice, the more there is to wonder about. Until our next Wonder Walk, keep exploring.